I flew over my parents, flew over her parents as a secret. Actually hide the ring.
Really?
In my person can make someone sweat. Any person can make them feel, have a good workout. Don't be late. Make sure you're here. And when my grandfather passed away, it's me versus 16 people. Minister of Health doesn't know how to shave. Steve, I've never been a receiver. Like I'm $3,000 for this school.
That's beautiful.
In Peru. I think the lifespan of a PT is 6 months.
All right, Jacob, thank you for joining me, my man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
It is a pleasure to have you on. Let me start by saying congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
I've heard about your recent engagement.
Thank you. 9 months.
Yeah.
We were supposed to get married in November, but now push it to February. So
It must be a nightmare to try and organise a wedding right now.
Man, look, when you have a wonderful fiance doing all the background stuff, I think it does make it a little bit easier. But yeah, very stressful. Obviously, knowing that there is nothing you can really do until I guess everything opens. So
yeah, it's tough because I can imagine you guys are just having to push back the date, organise.
Yeah. Like we weren't, and then obviously just the thought of having 50 people at your wedding, it was just impossible. So we just made a decision to wait till February and hopefully.
Especially with a big South American family.
Yeah, well, look, we're both South American, but to be honest, we don't have the biggest families. It's just like, you want special people there.
Of course.
Is there really enough people to have when it's just 50?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, there are going to be a lot of people out there that hearing you're engaged is going to break their hearts.
I don't know about that, man.
The complete catch. Good looking guy, work out, got your own business. You're into the podcasting space. You very sociable. Man, there's a lot to admire about you. You're a real catch.
I appreciate that, man. I mean, it did get the best of me at times, but overall you learn from it, I guess. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
How did you meet your fiancée? Mariana, right?
Yes. Yeah. And she's obviously going to say a different story, but it was just back end of 2018, start of 2019, and she saw one of the photos actually of me wearing this shirt. She's Argentinian.
This very shirt.
Yeah, and then she commented on it, and then she DM'd me, and then sky's the limit from there. Went on the first date. Didn't think of much of it until she stepped out of her car, and then we just got along, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. I saw the proposal video and it was beautiful.
Yeah, we flew to Townsville.
Yeah.
We were there initially for a photo shoot for the Ville, which is a resort there.
Yeah.
And then I organised with them on the night before we left that we would,
Did you go into that knowing today's the day?
Yeah. Yeah. Everything was planned. I flew over my parents, flew over her parents as a secret.
Yeah.
I flew over my best mate who's a photographer too, so she had no clue.
For those people who don't know, the photo is right there. And I mean, just the scenery there. It's gorgeous, man. Far out.
Beautiful.
You've set the bar high for the rest of us.
I had to actually hide the ring
in
my nutsack, and those shorts were pretty tight that day. So
yeah,
I don't know how she didn't realise, but no, we pulled through. She didn't know.
Yeah,
she thinks that she knew, but she didn't know. No chance. I'm not taking that.
No. Of course not. I mean, look at her reaction right there. That's so candid and real.
Yeah, and then 30 seconds later, the photographer, my best mate, comes out. She's like, "No way!" And then another minute later, our parents start running through. And
yeah,
it was a good moment, something to look back at. And
I think just the coordinating and the the fact that your photographers and videographers there to capture that one moment speaks amplitudes to you. Your attention to detail is phenomenal.
Yeah, man. I mean, even yesterday I was talking to my barber and I was like, bro, gone on a podcast, it's been a while, and those small things are just getting your hair right as well.
Absolutely.
It's those little 1%ers that matter the most to me. So whether it's in looks or whether it's in business or whether it's just in life in general, it's just all that extra 1% you can get, I'll take it.
Whenever I speak to people that are PTs or trainers or interested in the fitness space, and they kind of talk about how COVID's been unfair to them and they haven't been able to adapt and haven't, it's unfair that their business is suffering because of it. I always point them back to you and your page, because your ability to not only be very good at what you do, but also to diversify is amazing. So it's not like you just focus on the one PT thing and you've just got your clients, but you've got your apparel, you've got your content, you've got so many avenues working for you. It's how did you start that?
I mean, I've always had this passion, of helping people at a young age. The clothing line sort of came about, always as a little kid, you want to wear your own clothes. I was always about being different, wearing things that other people weren't wearing. And, I thought I was able to sort of get into that position where I've got pretty decent client base.
Yeah.
I've got the passion for clothing. My name, every time I think of it, Jacob Alexis, I put it in the same position.
So well.
Like Lorna Jane, Calvin Klein. So I look at it more than just apparel. It's more of like that clothing brand. It's a community.
100%.
And it's a tough game. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there, but it's an extra avenue for me to look into and create something special in that area.
Course. I mean, I was looking at this stuff earlier, and like this is stuff like I would actually wear, like even if I wasn't training.
Yeah. I've actually got the shorts on right now.
Yeah,
the newest ones.
Go.
No more.
Are those available yet, or?
Yeah, the shorts are available.
Where can they find it? Let them know.
Yeah, JacobAlexis.com. Jacob Alexis Label. Anywhere where you can find me, you'll find those shorts as well.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, man.
How did you go about like the design aspect and stuff like that?
Look, we went back and forth, my brother and I, and he's very picky in what he does with designs, and I think the difference between our logo and how the J and the A and that sort of stuff, everything sort of being precise, was just more about making it look different. I mean, you get the usual cursive writing, box lettered stuff when you see something. You see something with Gymshark, they'll have their logo, and then they'll have Gymshark, and it's just very standard. With us, with the logo, it was like, well, how can we make it stand out? And I think what we did on the jumpers as well is we made it matte black, and we had a 3D logo.
I love that like matte black crew neck style. Like it's just so on point. It's so perfect.
It is a tough brand because people still think it's Jacob Alexis, the PT, the person. When I've sort of wanted to take a step back, and that's the reason behind actually the matte black is like take the pressure off Jacob and more focus on the actual brand and the community, because a lot of people they think Jacob Alexis, they think the PT, they think the person with the good looks, they think the person with the fiance and the business and stuff, but I'd rather it be Jacob Alexis as a community. It's more about understanding that if you're part of that community, you're a winner, and obviously that entails with always winning. But the reason behind the matte black is like stay away from Jacob, me, think about the brand, think about where it can go in, 5 years' time.
So you've given this like a lot of thought, like you've really mapped this out for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, look, whether it's something to value in regards to the business itself, or whether it's diminishing me, I'd rather diminish me and put more value to the business. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think what you said there is very important as well, like your emphasis on community.
Yeah, big one on the community, which is, I guess, why, I really became a PT. It's any person can make someone sweat. Any person can make them feel, have a good workout, I guess, and put them on an easy meal plan. But there's a lot more that comes into, someone's journey and how they can actually live a longer life, healthier life and a more confident life. So.
Yeah, what strikes me about you is that you seem to genuinely have a relationship with every single one of your clients. Like it's not just this, here's my $50, here's my $100. I'll get them to do lunges for 20 minutes and call it a day. Like you're really invested in their story and making them become a better version of themselves.
And that's the goal. That's more than what money can buy, what money can pay. And, whenever I put a transformation up on my Instagram, I actually feel hesitant to, because I don't want people to look at this person's 20 kilo fat loss, journey and transformation. I'd rather them look at, what their performance was like physically, how did they overcome their struggles of, confidence and stuff. And I think people just look at a photo and go, oh, that's amazing. And then that's it. Every single time, a mum walks by and, she sees an old friend from school from 20 years ago, oh my God, you lost so much weight. How much have you lost? And like that, just that conversation, it's like, oh, I've lost 10 kilos. It's like, oh, wow, you look amazing. Like, why do we have to value, a number?
Yeah, and weight's a weird one to go off as well.
Exactly, and that's why...
It fluctuates so much and it's just not accurate.
Yeah, there's a lot of information in regards to fluctuation for male and female, and that's why I love working with a lot of females and teaching them the lessons around why the body weight fluctuates. But it's just that ongoing conversation between female to female, even guys, like, how much do you weigh? How much do you bench? Like, it's just always this, competition. Like, why can't we talk more about, how's your confidence been? You're living a longer life. Do you have a good relationship with food? Are you training four times a week consistently? Are you enjoying it? Yeah. So, yeah.
And I think people really undervalue, because absolutely. You work out, you exercise, you're going to look physically better. Like, it's just a given. It goes hand in hand. But I think a lot of people are really undervaluing like the emotional journey that you go through.
Yeah. I mean, it's always different for everyone, depending on their goal as well. And I think the biggest thing you got to look at is, which is step number one in my always winning mentality, is, overcoming the past. Like, if you're always thinking about the past, and, if you're looking at how you looked at 17 and you're 23 now, like, life's different.
Absolutely.
You're not probably at uni, you're not studying, you don't have a job, you have to pay bills, you might have been in a relationship, you might have a kid, all those things are an emotional attachment, and training is a detachment to that.
Yeah.
But some people just don't understand how to balance that.
Yeah, and there's like this genuine like endorphin rush that you get after like doing something challenging.
Yeah.
Working out and like pushing that boundary of what's actually physically capable. Because I think a lot of people are selling themselves short.
Yeah,
a lot of people kind of go, I don't know if I can run that 2Ks. And if you kind of go into the workout with that kind of mindset, like, you're not ever going to be able to perform.
Yeah. You always limit yourself in that. And that's where I teach a lot with my clients, whether it's a one-on-one, a small group, or even the boot camps, especially the boot camps, because, you can put yourself in a position of training in the gym by yourself. And if Jacob, myself, tells you to, do 12 reps, 3 sets, you might choose a lighter weight. But when you've got people surrounding you, you might have a different mentality, like, these people are watching me. Whether it's a good note or a bad note, they're going to push a little bit more because there's that extra person watching them. There's that some person that you might want to impress, or you might want to, get that extra upper hand on them.
And there's a group mentality to that as well, which is why I love watching the bootcamp videos so much.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's kind of fired up and charged and excited for it, and everyone's kind of pushing each other. And you see someone slacking off a little bit and you kind of motivate them. You're like, no, come on, like, we can do this.
And like I said before, it's the endorphins, from the first boot camp to the last boot camp, everyone's personalities change. Every person feels welcome. Every person feels confident in, rocking up, whether they're feeling like a 4 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10 from the day before. Yeah. They're all going to walk out feeling like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that all just comes down to, letting your walls down and letting yourself just be you. And I think I allow that in my coaching as much as I, at the boot camps, I'm very like, don't be late. Make sure you're here. Don't talk when I'm talking. No swearing, that sort of stuff as well. Like, once they understand that that's the rules, then they're free. They can have conversations after training sessions, but it's that community that really feels good knowing that every person's on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious to know, how did your fitness journey start? Like, have you always been into sports, or? Yeah,
so my whole life I've revolved around sports, whether it was soccer, footy, touch football, Oztag. Athletics was a big one for me.
Athletics?
Yeah, so I was a sprinter my whole life.
Ah.
Yeah, and from the age of 4, tiny tots, all the way through to like under 16s, and then made a decision to stop and do full-time footy. I had a big passion for sports, and that mindset of always winning came in hand when my grandfather passed away in 2011.
I'm sorry to hear that.
That's all good. And I was in a race. I was at state. I think 2011. I was like 14 at the stage, 13, and obviously my nerves were running drastically in my body, and just had this time of prayer when my grandfather was watching over me, and regardless of the result, I was still a winner. And then obviously over that sort of developed that confidence in knowing that I'm a winner no matter what happens, regardless if it's a loss. It's always a lesson.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a really important thing, like, people should walk away with, is like, it's not just about coming first. It's not just about hitting a new PB. It's not just about getting the best time. Like, it is so much more than that.
Yeah, I think the thing a lot of people need to realize is there's a lot of pain, or there's a lot more, how do I sort of say this? Like, winning a race versus coming second.
Yeah.
There's more drive when you've come second, if
Absolutely.
that makes sense, right? You've won, you know what you're capable of, what's next.
Yeah.
Whereas when you come second, it's like, well, how can I get better? Regardless of the person that came first, I don't care about them. I don't care about the team. It's like, how can I get better? And the focus is just on you. And the journey is always going to be against you. So that's all that matters.
Tony Robbins has a really interesting way of kind of summarizing that. He says, when people win, they celebrate. But when people lose, they ponder. And so I think that speaks magnitude. It's like, you kind of need to hit the wall a couple times. You kind of need to lose and hit rock bottom, per se, wherever your rock bottom is.
Yeah.
To kind of find that drive and that fire to go again.
It's a decision. You can either sit there, have a cry, just like, some people are saying about COVID, hit them hard with their businesses. Like, feel sorry for a lot of people who, went through that. I went through that. But you can sit there, cry, wake up at 10 o'clock in the morning, go to sleep at 12 o'clock in the morning and do nothing about it, or just find a way, whether it's starting a podcast, whether it's, making content, whether it's, focusing on you, doing a Tony Robbins, course or whatever it is. It's your decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're all kind of in the same position. COVID is an ideal situation for anyone.
Yeah.
Especially someone like you, I imagine a good chunk of your business is around boot camps and, these big group kind of sessions. Like, how has COVID lockdown affected you in particular?
Look, man, to be fair, it hasn't really in regards to that section. I'd sort of treat my boot camp seasonal, around that September to April mark.
So soon.
Yeah, so basically I would have been starting on Monday.
Right.
That's what had been scheduled for the release of the first boot camp or the second boot camp practically of 2021. But I just don't like doing it between May and August because, on a business perspective, do people really want to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning and grab a steel kettlebell when it's freezing and the wet dew? And I just don't think it's a smart decision. And boot camp should be something that you look forward to.
Yep.
I do personally enjoy training. I do personally enjoy training large groups, but the one-on-one, which is the long-term thing, or the small group classes, is where you can get the most bang out of your buck when it comes to development in the gym and that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of getting that one-on-one attention and really getting someone that's specialized to exactly what you need and understanding. I don't know if you're taking account of like people's diet and their macros. Are you doing that kind of stuff?
Yeah, of course. Everything. We look at everything, and that's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. Even with the boot camps, I look at everyone as an individual, but the attention is different. With one-on-one, it's just the attention. It's me and you. It's no one else. Whether it's a boot camp, I cap them at 16 people. It's me versus 16 people.
Yeah.
I can't cue you in 40 seconds because then in the next 40 seconds, it's a new exercise and someone else is there. So with the one-on-one or even the small group classes, like I can pay a lot more attention onto how you execute an exercise. I can see your emotion. Is it feeling good? Is it not feeling good? Are you performing at your best level? Why not? I can have that one-on-one conversation with you. You can open up. Whether it's a boot camp, you might tell me after. You might tell me before. So it's all about honesty. At the end of the day, it's been very hard for me to try and employ other trainers because of that. I don't think they really understand that the way I do my business is a lot different to other PTs. It's not just go get this person to do 100 burpees and 20 squats. It's more about how can we train smarter and let this person feel 100% more confident than they walked in.
True, but I mean, if you had like a program or something, like a structured program, like, hey, this is what we're doing this week, and we're kind of, I mean, I used to play football in South America, actually.
Oh, cool.
And the way our kind of strength and conditioning was laid out was that we had a 16-week plan. And then each week was kind of building towards something. So it was like, it wasn't just like we're doing weights this day because the coach felt like we're doing weights. It was like there was a very direct purpose behind everything. So, I mean, potentially you could have a structure.
There's always structure. Like my structure with boot camps versus one-on-one are different. Like with boot camp, you've got week 1, we're teaching you the fundamentals of fitness, and then we're getting you to understand different types of fitness levels in regards to training. Like, for example, you got one called every minute on the minute. So if I tell you to do 10 squats in a minute and it takes you 20 seconds, you've got 40 seconds remaining. If it takes you 40 seconds, you've got 20 seconds remaining. Right. So it just teaches them how to stay in control. And so that structure there will then go into the next week, which is potentially for time. So I'll say, all right, I need you to do 10 squats, 10 reverse lunges, 10 push-ups.
Yeah.
And let me know what your time gets. And then we'll stop your time. Good, it took you 2 minutes 32. Now, how can we look at that first round and get better so then we can get a faster time? So cool, it looks like you took too much time on the reverse lunges. Looks like when you went from reverse lunges to push-ups, there was too much time where you were resting. Let's just go straight into it. And then round 2 was 206.
Yeah. And
then, okay, cool. We've established 26 seconds was like it got a lot better. How can we get on this final round of the full time, how can we make it faster? Cool, let's just go all out. You know what you're doing now. You've got 10 squats straight off the bat, straight into 10 reverse lunges, straight into 10 push-ups. Bang, he hits a minute 50. So that teaches them how to work smarter, but also working harder. Once they establish what their weakness was, they'll make it their strength. So there is a lot of structure. But I guess giving it to someone else without knowing my mindset around it, you got to teach them a lot about that, because as much as you give someone structure, and I guess you would know this with soccer, you might have a shit day. You might have had the runs, for example, you know, and you don't want to be honest because you don't want to let anyone down. You know, you might have tweaked your left hip, you know, without yourself even knowing. You know, you might have had a fight with someone that really affects your mentality, so then you're not as driven. You know, so people don't really understand that unless they're willing to open up to you, unless they have that good relationship with you.
Yeah, there's a very human aspect to coaching, which I think people underestimate, because I guess, you know, they see the highlight reel of you, right? They see you when you're amped up. They see you when you're kind of, you know, really excited and pushing people forward.
Yeah.
But I guess people kind of underestimate that, like, you know, you do have your own life. You do have your own
of course,
personal circumstances, you know, and so it's like you have a fight with X person, and to kind of switch that kind of mentality off and go into, okay, I'm in coaching mode now. Like, this person needs the best possible results from me.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make that switch? How do you?
Look, bro, there is hard days. I mean, there's been days where my phone's going off and, you know, I'll pay attention to it more than I should. But I think the way I ended up balancing it and sort of switching was, you know, setting some boundaries, I guess, and then working towards that. You know, if I said to my clients, you can message me as much as you want, ask me questions, send me your food photos, you know, check in with me. But after 8 p.m. and before 5 a.m., I'm asleep or I'm spending time with, you know, my partner and stuff. So, you know, at times before, I'd respond whenever, and I'd, you know, attend to whatever I needed to do straight away. But I had to create that balance, you know, that circle of, you know, of life, of how much time are you spending on your business, how much time are you spending, you know, with your partner, how much time are you spending in your self-development, you know, how much time are you spending, you know, with, you know, if you're religious or not as well. So until I started understanding the breakdown of that pie or that circle, that's when I was able to sort of transition from being a coach to being a normal person again. Yeah. You know, because I was like, cool, this is what I'm going to do. I've got my time here. I know how to, you know, I guess transition easier because I got more control.
You're right.
Okay, it's not just like, oh, yep, my phone's gone off, straight away into it. Bang, bang, bang. I had more control with the decisions I was making.
Of course. And you have to. I mean, like, so many people demand so many different things from you.
Yeah.
You know, from a business perspective, you know, I'm sure you've got people that are demanding numbers or like figures from you. And then from a coaching perspective, it's like you said before, people need you to give them feedback on their diet or their form or their workouts. Like, it's very multifaceted what you're doing. It just amazes me that you're doing it.
I know, and that's where I saw the difference in my coaching. And some people agree with it, some people don't. But like, I don't see the value in people just coming to see me for, you know, once, twice, 3 times a week to train and then not have any communication after. Like, I'm teaching you on how to, you know, live a life that's longer lasting, live a life full of confidence. And my goal is, you know, to create a legacy of health and fitness for you. So how can I do that if I'm only seeing you once a week for an hour or twice a week for 45 minutes, you know? You know, we need to have that communication. We need to know, you know, how days are feeling, and they have access to my app. And if they can't access me and I'm not responding straight away, then they have access to my app where they can give me feedback as well. And it just goes to show that the more feedback clients give me, the more results they get, because they know that I'm going to give them feedback on top of that even more. Yeah. But with the clients who don't really care, then you'll see the difference.
I'm listening to you speak and I'm thinking, why is this guy not the Minister of Health? Like, Jesus Christ.
Because the Minister of Health doesn't know how to shave. I know how to shave, so it's all right.
Yeah, maybe that's it, right?
Yeah.
No, but honestly, I think, you know, I was having this conversation earlier, but I think seeing kind of our response to this pandemic and seeing our response to how things have played out, it really highlights that there hasn't been enough of an emphasis on health per se in a holistic point of view. So we've taken aboard like the hand sanitizing, mask wearing, social distance, vaccination kind of approach for 2 years now, essentially. Maybe not the vaccination, but everything else has kind of been put in for 2 years. But one of the things that's really been frustrating me personally is that there is not enough emphasis on the stuff you're talking about accountability, about working out, about getting outside and getting plenty of vitamin D, about community.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with, you know, the New South Wales government and that sort of stuff. I mean, I don't have too much to say on that area, but besides that, like, studies have shown that, you know, high levels of obesity can, you know, attract COVID more than someone who's not. And at the same time, with the rates of, mental health and suicide increasing. Like, sometimes training and exercise is an escape for some people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and people who have eating disorders or who have problems with eating too much, even diabetes as well, like those can all be controlled by, a well mapped out
absolutely
nutrition and training plan.
Yeah, of course. And I think, to kind of look at health in this one dimensional, like how are you physically, is very short-sighted.
Yeah.
Because ultimately all our bodies deteriorate over time. Bone density, eventually decays, muscle mass eventually decays, but there are things that you can do to actually counteract that and prolong your life and prolong your health.
Of course. And people, they don't really, I guess, allow themselves to, increase their knowledge around training and nutrition. Probably even nutrition more than they think. They just think that chicken salad is healthy, so I'm going to eat one, and then they don't eat anything else for the rest of the day. They think that keto is still superior to every single diet out there, and it's just like,
keto boy?
No chance. And I can give you 1,000,001 reasons why, but it's just people are always going to try to find something that someone else is doing rather than focusing on what's best for them. Yeah.
So what's your approach to nutrition then?
Look, man, it's just finding a good relationship with food. And I think by doing that is by being a flexible dieter. I think that if you know how much you need to eat in a day to maintain your body weight and understand that, hey, 80% of that needs to be clean and 20% of that can be whatever you want, as long as you're hitting your targets, then you will reach your goals of whether it's putting on muscle or dropping body fat. And I was actually teaching one of my new clients. She's done keto for 3 years. She's a mum of 2. All she's ever thought about was wanting to lose weight, and she saw results with keto.
What is keto exactly?
Keto is just from my knowledge is just dropping carbs.
Right.
Not having any carbohydrates in your daily diet, and just focusing on proteins and fats.
Yeah.
And people see themselves acknowledging that keto works, and I'm like, yeah, it does, because you literally just went from eating at maintenance to dropping calories down from the carbs. And then the reason why they see their weight drop down so fast as well is because for every gram of carbohydrate has 4 mils of water. So 66% of the body or so is water. So if you're going to be dropping carbs, you're going to be dropping water as well from your daily, intake as well. So not only are you dropping potential body fat, you're dropping water, but then you're also dropping muscle mass because there's a rapid drop in your calories daily. So it's a big conversation to have, but I just don't think it's sustainable, because even like ourselves, you're South American, right? We love bread, we love pasta.
Oh, absolutely.
Italians do, Greeks do, Indians do, man. Like every person does, so why would you create that bad relationship with food? Now, give or take, you got a health problem, health issue that, for example, with glycogen, or you might have something with, insulin resistant, that you might need to lower your carbs a bit. The spike of insulin doesn't work as much as, a regular person, for example. But, you can always work around it. I've got clients, female clients who do have problems, internally with their hormones, or with just, I guess their health. And, we need to move things around when it comes down to the nutrition, but never once do I ever say you can't have no carbs.
Yeah, and you're talking about a very specific kind of case there, with people with, specific kind of health concerns where maybe carbs, we do need to look at how much you're actually taking in and taking out. Yeah,
carbs, as much as I love the protein side of things and fats, they're all good, but carbohydrates, man, I don't see a life where you can't, have carbs. Like, there's so much positive aspects from them.
It's fuel. It's literally energy.
Yeah, it's fuel, and they support a lot of things. And if you're not having them, as well as your physical side of things, mentally your brain won't function too. You need that sugar.
Absolutely. Yeah, I guess just that notion's kind of come from this viewpoint that to get the fastest, quickest results, if you cut out carbs, and like you said before, carbs retain a lot of water, so you're just going to lose a lot of weight naturally. It's like, but is that sustainable?
And then comes the rebound. You speak to every single person who's done keto, they put the weight back on. I can guarantee you, they will lie to you. They'll lie to you, but they have.
Yeah.
Okay, they have, because they don't understand the drop in calories and the drop in their maintenance calories. That for them to want to maintain that body weight that they've they enjoy now because keto has made them get there. Or there has to be a new protocol. It's called reverse dieting, which is a whole different level of nutrition. But they don't know that.
What's that?
So just think about dieting. You go down in calories, you increase your intensity of training, and then basically it's just the opposite. You need to slowly increase calories back up so you can maintain what you want. People don't know what the diet after the diet looks like. They just think about the diet.
It's just the diet for life. They kind of marry it.
Exactly. And that's why when I always have these conversations, like I've got a client he's the same body weight as me. Mm-hmm. All right. I'm eating twice as much food than him, but I'm still losing body fat. And it's just like, how do you do that? And it's like, well, there's, again, 1,000,001 reasons things, but, I've trained myself and I've obviously allowed myself to understand that, hey, if I'm eating 3,000, 3,200 calories, for me, for my maintenance, then I'm cool. But people, since they've had such a yo-yo, such a roller coaster with their dieting, they're not going to really understand at that current point, what's the exit strategy, after a diet? Is it just continue diet for the rest of my life or for the rest of the year? No, there's other things that you can do.
Yeah, no, I never thought about it that way, because it's, my personal approach to food has been, I've tried different things. I've tried the keto thing. I've tried the vegan thing. The vegan thing nearly killed me. I couldn't do it. But I think, and I'd love to hear your opinion about this, but where I found the most amount of results and sustainable results personally was through intermittent fasting. Are you familiar with that at all?
Yeah. But let me tell you this. I mean, look, there is a little bit of studies that show that intermittent fasting can help with certain things, but to the general public, you got to think about this for a second, right? The general public person works a 9 to 5, right? And they want to do intermittent fasting, but let's just rewind 6 months. They'll go to sleep around 11 o'clock. They'll wake up 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. They'll get ready. Then they'll get on the train. Then they'll order their coffee. Then they'll wait and eat because they're on the computer. Then they'll get another coffee. And next thing you know, it's 12 o'clock. Oh, so since you went to sleep versus when you had your first meal, it's 12 hours. It's the same thing as intermittent fasting to an extent. So to me, I just look at it that way. Again, I personally don't think it's, long-term longevity. I don't think it's something that people can live long-term. But if that's your lifestyle, then do it. Performance-wise, I would prefer to eat before I train, after I train. I'd like to eat after a few clients in the morning. That's just me.
Yeah.
Regardless if I'm dieting or not dieting. To be honest, it's just I look at food as fuel and I have a good relationship with that food and I need that to function rather than having caffeine all the time. So that's how I see it. Yeah. But it's people's decision at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's respectable, and I think our biological makeup and our components are so different between cultures. Right, like the way our bodies have evolved in certain parts of the globe compared to others, it's going to be completely different. So to pretend like there's this one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to food in particular just isn't going to work. It's not realistic. It has to be very much so what you feel in your body and what you feel gives you the most energy and that you don't have that gluggy, horrible feeling afterwards after you eat.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the one-size-fits-all or not, people still need to understand that regardless of what you do, it just goes by your calorie maintenance. All right, you've got this much food to maintain your body weight. Yep. If you eat less than that, you drop weight. All right, if you eat more than that, you put on weight. It's as simple as it is. And so with you look at intermittent fasting, you look at keto, you look at flexible dieting, you look at paleo, you look at everything. All it is trying to do is just trying to shorten the window of you eating.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what it is. But the reason why I like to teach flexible dieting is because as much as you want to shorten the window of eating and eating less than what you want, people don't want to just drop weight. They want to drop body fat. They want to still look good.
Exactly.
Okay, obviously give or take, people on the larger side who need to drop a lot of body fat, that's different. But people always say to me, Jacob, I want to be toned. Jacob, I want to look leaner, and then people always mix up with themselves. I want to look toned, but then I want to get a bigger butt or I want to get bigger arms. I'm like, but you do got to understand that for you to put on muscle to an extent, you need to be eating more than your maintenance.
Yeah.
You need your body to grow. And so people always get mixed up with it, and that's where people have those issues, because it's back and forth. Yeah, but this person told me this, but then this person told that, but then YouTube told me this, but then the girl on Instagram who's squatting 100 kilos with her back arch is telling me this as well. So there's
so many of those.
Yeah,
I've watched so many of those workout videos where it's just like painful. It's like, no, what are you doing?
Anyone with a good body can give advice. I'll just say that. Like, whether you're genetically blessed or whether you do work hard, anyone can give advice. But even I'm not on TikTok, but from what I've heard, man, there's a lot of people out there giving nutrition and training advice, and I think some of it I've seen, it's just like, technically you're not qualified to say that, but hey, it's the internet.
Yeah, the internet doesn't really need a lot of qualifications. You can kind of just go on there. And
I think every single second person you meet wants to try to be a fitness influencer or a PT these days. And
I mean, it's an attractive lifestyle.
I mean, look, it does from the outside, but there's a lot that takes into there. When you run a business, man, it's not just what this person pays you for an hour, what this person pays for you a week. You got expenses like you would in the business. There's a lot more that entails with just training people, and I think people don't understand that. Which I think the lifespan of a PT is 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember when I went to a seminar once when I was younger, the average life expectancy of a PT is 6 to 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I guess.
People treat. I find it disrespectful when people treat PT as a part-time job or as a side hustle.
Yeah.
I mean, side hustle if you're starting off, but you got to go all in. That's how I see it. I went all in at a young age.
What do you credit your longevity to then? Because you've been doing this for years.
I don't really know, to be honest. I think it's just probably my passion, man. It's just. That's what it's been. It's ever since a young age. I just want to help people, and ever since I knew my capabilities of communication and building strong relationships with people. Not only can I train people hard, I can have a good conversation with someone to get them across the line for where they need to be. So it's just passion, man. I mean, there's times where you doubt yourself, but. I knew what God put me on the earth to do, and it's to transform people's lives, and he's done it through fitness for me. So
no, that's beautiful, man. And I guess there's probably going to be a couple of people out there that are thinking of kind of like dabbling into this, or maybe I could be a PT, Because like you said before, the lifestyle from the outside looking in looks very attractive, and they're not thinking about all the research and planning and the real grit that kind of goes into it. So what advice would you give to those people then that are kind of considering it?
I'd say don't try to become an online trainer.
No?
Like you need to have that communication in front. You need to learn how to train a male, a female. You need to learn how to train a 45-year-old woman versus a 20-year-old woman. You need to learn how to work with corporate people. You need to learn how to work with teenage, people fresh out of school, because then you start to understand personalities. You understand, how to not only program your training side of things, but what's going to be best for them to get their results. But, I mean, there's so much advice I can give to someone, but I think the best one I can give is like, if you believe that personal training is more than just training people, then you'll go a long way, because it's not just here's your program, see you later. And I think a lot of people fall into that. I think a lot of people pay $9.99 a month for an app just to see exercises, but never really takes them anywhere. So if they understand that it's more than training people, then they'll go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, credit to you, because like I said before, you're not just looking at it as a 1 hour class that you're kind of just half-assing through. Like, you're really invested in the people that you care about. And I think if more people kind of took that approach, then, and they had a genuine relationship with the person that was training them, like you're not just training the physicality, you're training the mentality just as much.
Yeah. And
like that always winning mindset, you always refer back to. Like, where does that come from? Where does that always winning?
Yeah, again, I've sort of said it a little bit with my grandfather, but I didn't really sort of understand it. I was growing up, but like I had a few big moments in my life, like 2015, 2018. Like 2015, I broke my leg.
Really?
Yeah, I broke my leg in footy, and that time of the year was year 12.
Which part of your leg?
I tore my ACL, my PCL, and my LCL. So I was just hanging by the MCL.
Nasty.
Yeah, and then a grade 2 calf strain. So. Yeah, it was a tough injury. It still hurts till now, but I mean, to the average person, it feels good.
Especially if you're playing footy, like just that dynamic kind of being able to shift gears, you know, bounce off one leg onto the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Like in football, we'd see ACLs go all the time, all the time.
Yeah, I was just unfortunate to have the ACL and the PCL and the LCL all in one go. So it was a tough learning curve there, and I think during that time, you know,
I imagine that's a lot of surgery as well.
Yeah, it was 2 surgeries. It was going to be 3, but we managed to only do 2.
Okay, good.
But yeah, the recovery was tough. You know, I could talk about all the physical battles I had to go through, like almost falling in the shower, you know, having nightmares and stuff like that, my leg twitching and stuff. I just, you know, I'm having a dream that I'm doing it again, and then in real life I'm trying to avoid it, but I'm actually, you know, physically moving myself in my sleep. So there was a lot of dark times there, but, you know, it was just my focus at that point was my faith, you know, and with my faith, with my religious part of the thing was, you know, I could sort of question God, why did you do this? You know, it was my last year of school, it was my last year of being under 18s, you know, there's potential of me making some good representative sides. It was my last year of doing athletics and going high in there as well. So
yeah, you had avenues to kind of continue pursuing sport.
And like it's like it got taken all away from me. And you know, it's very easy just to question why this, why that, and you know, fall into a very dark hole. But I think at that point, it was unlucky that my parents were overseas, my sisters were overseas, and my brothers were working, and my grandma was next door to me, but I was sort of alone at home, so there was a lot of thinking to do there. And just at that time, it was like, all right, well, instead of questioning why, you know, I think I had to just switch my focus in what is this teaching me.
Did you have any mentors or anyone that you kind of listened to, like a David Goggins kind of figure or someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I have had some mentors. Like I had one. I didn't really have any during my younger years. It was only until like when I started expanding more my business. But a lot of it was just, you know, Christian pastors. You know, Stephen Furtick was a good one. John Gray. Those two I listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of you know, Sunday morning services that they'll do. And to be honest, man, like people can say whatever they want to say, but a lot of the things that people learn, you know, whether it's, you know, courage, strength, faith, you know, they're all in the Bible. And so that's why I just looked straight into the Bible and, you know, got my wisdom from there and let God do his work on me. And, you know, those times was tough. Sometimes you don't understand what it's like at a young age, and especially if you're probably new to faith and stuff. But that's what helped me sort of really push forward there. And then once I started getting older, I could reach out to some sort of mentors specifically for business or, you know, just for life. But yeah, man, a lot of it was just, you know, gravitating into that relationship with God that really pushed me through, and that helped me get into the always winning mindset.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Just on that note, like I do think, personally, I'm not religious myself.
Yeah.
I don't find myself like identifying with one kind of denomination per se, but I've been raised Anglican, been raised Catholic, you know, the whole kind of thing, private school.
Yeah.
Set up. But I do know for a fact that there is a lot of wisdom in the Bible.
Yeah.
In particular, there is a lot of like universal truths that just seem fundamentally embedded in the fabric of the universe, whatever that means, whatever that entails. You want to call that God, you want to call that universe, spirituality, whatever the case. There is a lot of value in there, and I think some people are just a bit too dismissive of that, to disregard it. You know, like.
Yeah, well, we live in a world now that, you know, there's so many options, you know, and not just in religious wise, but in identity. And, you know, my identity is in Christ. You know, there's no need for me to confuse myself with that. And, you know, it's a journey for everyone. But I think now with how the world is expanding in so much problems, in so much like, you know, it's a big topic, but there's just so much change. And if you honestly look in the Bible, in the book of Revelations, it says what's happening right now.
What's it say? I'm not familiar with Revelation.
Yeah, well, but, you know, change is coming, you know, and we look at what life was in 2018 versus now in the space of 3 years. Like, look how much it's grown and changed. You know, look how much, you know, LGBTQ has changed from 5 years ago to now. You know, it's expanding, and there's so much change is happening, and it says that in the Bible. It doesn't say directly what's happening, but it gives you that wild perspective, and it goes back to the wisdom. And so if you can have that wisdom at a young age and use that to your, I guess, your strength and your abilities, and regardless of what you do, regardless of what, you know, you're set out to do in life, if you can have that close to your heart, then, you know, whatever you set your mind to, whether it's the podcast, building a business, finding a relationship, you know, you'll get there. But then again, a lot of it comes with patience too, which a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, and that's actually a very key kind of component of the Bible is patience.
And I've had my fair share of struggles with patience. I mean,
haven't we all?
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm very hungry, and that's probably one of my biggest ones.
Right.
So you know, if my food isn't ready in 27 minutes when it's supposed to be ready in 27 minutes, then you know you'll see a different side of me.
Listen, you're a diesel truck of a human being. Like you need to be fed.
Yeah, man.
You must run on like some high octane fuel.
I mean, man, food's glory, man. We're blessed to get food, so easy, and
for sure.
Yeah, food's just amazing, man. I can't live a life without it. Yeah, we do.
We really take it for granted.
Yeah.
I remember while I was in South America and seeing kind of the level of poverty over there, and seeing that, you know, your next meal is genuinely like a question you're asking yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, not me personally, but it exists very much so.
I know, it's sad to see. Like, I travelled the world for the first time in 2019. And
okay, where'd you go?
I went to Bali for a fitness retreat, then I went to Peru, where my mum's from.
You went to Peru?
Yeah.
Machu Picchu?
Yeah. And so Peru was where I was able to see, you know, the poor and the less, I guess, fortunate. We raised $3,000 for this school
That's beautiful.
in Peru, and I just wanted to give back to my mum's country. I wanted to sort of see what it was like, and it was just crazy. Like that $3,000 AU could build a school.
Yeah.
And not only that, like I was just there, and going back to what you were saying before, is like, you know, I've been fed. I'm hungry. I've been fed. I'm full. I'm cool. And I've got this little canteen there, and there's about 25 to 30 kids there. I was like, you know, I want to get them something. And like I had, you know, some, you know, Peruvian coins there. I couldn't remember how much it was.
Pesos, yeah.
I don't know if it was pesos, so I can't remember what it was, because I think there's a bit of a difference. But, you know, I just saw this whole bucket of lollipops.
Right.
And like there was like 50 of them. And what you see a lollipop here, it's probably 50 cents. That's going to cost me what, $25? It cost me probably $1.20.
Yeah.
And I was like, freak, let me buy the whole thing. And I just gave it to all the kids. And the excitement from just a lollipop, it's just like, that's a whole other level. Again, it's gratitude.
It's humbling.
Like it is definitely humbling. And knowing that you were able to influence that was just amazing. But, you know, it breaks your heart to see, you know, that they just get excited off a lollipop. Like we're so annoyed that we can't even get, you know, a Subway foot long in less than 5 minutes.
Oh,
you know,
the next iPhone comes out and it's
exactly.
like, this one it needs to go.
Exactly, and that was a big change. That was a huge eye opener for me. And I think again, gratitude and, you know, living with gratitude and giving people gratitude or sharing gratitude is a number one factor of being a winner.
And that's also just one of the lessons you get with traveling.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever anyone kind of comes to me for advice or stuff like that, it's my first response is always just travel, just see the world, go experience it. You know, obviously now it's a bit trickier to do so.
Yeah.
But in normal circumstances, like just traveling and seeing the world is so important because it opens your mind to just the way, you know, your suburb is or your community is or your city is or your country is. And you kind of see that there are other ways of living. It's not just this one rigid kind of structure.
Yeah.
And people tend to kind of fall into this weird, almost closed off bubble of these ideas that kind of just get thrown around. It's the same conversations over and over and over again. But when you go into another country, when you get that experience and you get to see, you know, unfortunately that there is a lot of poverty in the world and that it doesn't take a lot for these people to be happy or to feel, you know, excited in a moment. You know, it kind of shifts things in your mind a little bit.
Yeah, 100% it did. It changed a lot for me, and it really made me become more of a grateful person, regardless of what I do receive. I've never been a receiver, like as in a not in a bad way, but I know that just sounded really weird. But I've never just been someone who really enjoys getting gifts. You know, my love languages is touch and acts of service. You know, I'd rather someone do something. Yeah, I'm a giver rather than. Jeez,
walks you straight back into that.
Oh man. Yeah.
Where else have you been aside from Peru?
I went to Peru and then went to Barcelona. Big Messi fan, as you can tell.
Yes. You must be. How are you feeling about the shift then from Barcelona?
I follow that bloke wherever he goes.
Doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You know, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest. Any Ronaldo fans, you can switch off right now. It's just over. But I went to Barcelona. Then I went to Paris. That was beautiful. Then I went to Paros, which is in Greece. No, sorry, I went to Majorca after Barcelona, which is another
Where's
place.
that?
It's another place in Spain. It's like a tropical place. It's really nice. I went to Paros, which is in Greece, and then I think I went to Rome after that, and then finished in Puglia, which is another Italian place.
A proper Euro trip.
Yeah, I mean, my fiance, she loves her travel. She, her passion is traveling, and her passion is, expanding her, variety of countries and cities she's been to, and she helped me, experiment more and explore. Explore more out there. So. That's why we went to some places like Paros or Puglia or Majorca. No one would really go there. They would just go to the usual Paris, Barcelona, Rome and stuff. But my favourite place out of everything was the Trevi Fountain. I could sit there for 10 hours in Rome and just watch that water slowly go down, and just the clear water and just the view. It was just beautiful.
Rome is such a weird city in general because it's like parts of it is just modernized and it's in the 21st century, but then there's other parts, there's just ancient ruins like right around the corner. It's insane. It really blew my mind away when I went. It was just like there's just this weird fusion of an ancient civilization and then a new civilization which is built around it.
Exactly.
And it's amazing.
I know you've got some old 200-year-old buildings, and then you've got Louis Vuitton in there. It's probably been there for like 10 years.
Yeah. You can see a lot of that in Milan, actually.
Yeah, Milan's the big one for that. There you go. Probably all the fashion people like Louis Vuitton isn't in Rome. I don't know. I don't know. I could be wrong. All right.
I've got no idea, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just remember being in Milan in particular, and it's you can't even call it Italy. It's its own city.
Yeah.
It's very much affluent, high-end culture. And you kind of get snippets of that here in Sydney, like in Rose Bay or in Darling Harbour or, Vaucluse, but
I don't think that would be even close.
It's not even close. It is insane. It's really crazy. And you can't help but feel out of place. You're like, oh, I'm not from here.
Yeah.
It's, it's incredible. You said you've been to Barcelona?
Yeah, Barcelona was
nice. Did the whole
nice.
stadium tour and everything?
Yeah, I did the stadium tour. Didn't get to spend too much time in Barcelona. There was like a public holiday where everything was closed, and then it was a really rainy day, and on top of that, I was really jet lagged coming from Peru. So
right, that's a shame because Barcelona probably is my favorite city in the world.
Yeah, I definitely will go there again and explore it a little bit better. Didn't get to enjoy it as much as I wanted to because it was our first destination after coming from Peru.
No.
We got my photos. I got a couple photos there and posted them, so it's at least it's the least we could do. Went to the W, went to the beach.
Yeah.
At least got my photos there. It's good.
Yeah.
And the I think I don't know, man. There wasn't a game at Barcelona when we went, but I had a feeling they were going to call me. I had a feeling. I was on the bench. I was sitting down there. I got the photo there. I got the photo on my Instagram, sitting there, and I felt like the coach was going to call me. The manager was going to call me, but I had to go. So.
It's a shame.
Yeah.
You would have been an excellent addition.
Yeah,
It was just marketing wise. They would have loved you.
I would have just bought the jerseys. Who knows? I had the runs at the Barcelona stadium. It was really bad. Yeah. I don't know. I think I was just nervous, man. I was don't know. I was just there. I don't know if I was nervous because I was like, Messi's been here before. I just had the runs, man.
It's a weird feeling when you see like the press rooms or the podiums or stuff like that.
I know.
Like, some of the
different level
players in history have been here. I grew up a Barcelona fan, Liverpool and Barcelona.
That's the same.
Yeah, but I was following Luis Suarez instead. Yeah. And yeah, it's just this overwhelming sense of like I'm so close to here. Like he's been there, he's been here. I guess unless you are a real fan of the sport, you never kind of really capture it. Look, bro, I want to be respectful of your time.
That's all good. Could go on for ages, man. My fiance always tells me I speak too much, so
no,
I have to calm it down a little bit.
I just don't want to drag this too much over. Like, what time do you need to be out of here?
Probably in about 5 minutes.
5 minutes?
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm happy to wrap it up here, man. If there's any kind of final notes you want to leave on.
Was there what do you want to finish on? What's one extra thing you want to...
No, look, I just think, for anyone that is listening to this podcast and, they are interested in kind of bettering their health or bettering themselves, as biased as it probably seems because you are sitting with me right now, you are genuinely like a person that can help them do that. Like not from a marketing standpoint or anything like that, but you genuinely just care.
Yeah.
And I want people to know that like you really do go above and beyond for your clients.
Thanks,
so, let them know when do the boot camps come around, or when can they find you? Where can they see you?
Yeah, I mean, you head over to my Instagram, you'll see my links, and you have my whole website. Everything from the Jacob Alexis Label to training one-on-one to training with the boot camps. But there'll be in a couple of weeks, the boot camps will be starting. I normally run 2 to 3 boot camps around Sydney, Burwood, Preston's, and sometimes we either go either Maroubra or Castle Hill. But my 2 main ones are Burwood and Preston's. I feel like they're both centred to certain places, Western Sydney, just off the M5, M7, and then Burwood, which is, off the M4 and near the city as well. But, if you ever need a coach that, generally will get you to where you want to be and sustain it. And, you jacobalexis.com, inquire for a PT. But other than that, man, I'm very precise with who I want to work with, because if you don't want to be honest with me, if you really don't want to change your life, then, just go sign up at F45. It's as simple as it is. I've had a lot of time wasters, and it's not been, dick, if I should say that. It's just more like I put 110% into you, and if you don't want to give the same, then I don't want to work with you. So,
all right, that's respectful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, my man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, that's it, guys.
Boom.